Alright, so this right here is the box of Nothing Phone 4a, but it's not your usual unboxing, spec reading video. In fact, I've used this phone extensively for over a week, and in this video, I'll tell you everything clear cut, both the good and the bad. I'll also answer all your questions, clear all your doubts, and most importantly, tell you if it's an upgrade over 3a or downgrade. Watch till the end and let's get started. First of all, this is how the box looks, and inside there's a nice little surprise. No, it's not a charger. It's actually a transparent case, and it's the first time Nothing is bundling a case in their A series phone. Nice. Now, the moment I saw the phone for the first time, it took me some time to process. I mean, there were so many changes at the back that I just kept looking at it. For starters, there's no glyph light, no glyph matrix, but don't worry, you do get lights at the back. We're good. There's this new vertical glyph bar at the side, which is made up of 63 mini LEDs inside these 7 squares, and it's way brighter compared to the glyph lights. There are 3 different brightness levels to choose from, but I did not see any yellow fringing in any level, which was the case before. See, honestly, I did not like the glyph bars at first, but as I started using phone regularly, it grew on me. I really like the implementation here because there's so much it can be used for. You can use it as a camera countdown, as a volume indicator, live progress for apps like Zomato, and obviously a bright notification LED that you just won't miss. The music visualization is not here yet, but Nothing has confirmed that it will be implemented very soon via an OTA update. Apart from that, the entire back is completely changed from 3a. The bottom is not chaotic like before. Instead, it has an industrial vibe with this metal plate, battery-like cutout, and the overall design feels way more confident. The upper part also looks way more premium than before. There's this new metal camera housing, it looks nice, and a properly functional red recording light in the glyph bar, which wasn't there earlier. The number of screws on the back are more this time, but despite that, the back looks much cleaner than before. I personally love this new design, and by the way, the color choices are also very interesting this time. There's obviously the white, the black, and the blue, but the new pink is just fantastic. It definitely has my heart. It's so good. The button placements have also been changed this time. All the essential buttons like the power button and volume keys are on one side, and the essential key is on the other side. It's actually good because earlier a lot of people got confused between the essential key and the power key. The in-hand feel of 4a hasn't changed much from 3a. It's still as wide as before, weighs almost the same, but the plastic frame on the back is now a bit curved. Now, durability wise, there's still Panda glass protection at the back, and the IP rating has also not changed, but it can now handle submersion of up to 25 centimeters for 20 minutes. And the front, it's now protected by Gorilla Glass 7i, which is a nice upgrade for sure. Now, apart from the back, there are some really good improvements on the front as well. It's now a 1.5K panel instead of the usual 1080p, so it's much sharper than before, and the brightness has also been bumped up. Even if you put the 4a and the 3a side by side, you can easily tell the difference. Apart from these upgrades, it's a 120Hz AMOLED LTPS panel, the fingerprint scanner is optical, and the stereo speakers now sound fuller than before. But since Netflix is not pre-installed, you don't get HDR support on it, but otherwise you do. Next up, if I talk about performance, the Nothing Phone 4a is powered by Snapdragon 7s Gen 4 with up to 12GB of LPDDR4X RAM and up to 256GB of UFS, wait for it, 3.1 storage. Yes, it's finally a UFS 3.1 storage. I'm really happy that Nothing has finally ditched the UFS 2.2. Good job. And if I compare the benchmarks, these are the numbers of Phone 4a against Phone 3a in Geekbench CPU, Geekbench GPU, and 3D Mark. I also ran CPU throttling, and the stability is pretty good. In gaming, you get 120 FPS in BGMI, and it also averages around that, so no problems there. But COD Mobile is stuck at 90 FPS only, and Genshin averages at around 40 FPS. By the way, I also tried this new game called Rainbow Six Mobile to see how well it performs, and to my surprise, the phone is handling it quite well. See, in gaming, in benchmarks, this phone performs good, but in day-to-day usage, it performs exceptionally well. Throughout my usage, this phone never slowed me down. There were no bugs, no random crashes, so no interesting stories to tell. And the multitasking was also fine. And now that there's UFS 3.1 storage, the app loading speeds or the longevity is also not a big question mark anymore. I also kept apps in memory just to see if it kills, but turns out it doesn't believe in violence. By the way, performance is not just hardware. Software also plays a huge role, and that's where where Nothing excels. Nothing OS 4.1 is always very smooth, right from the setup process to eventually using it. And there are 3 years of OS updates and 6 years of security patches. The animations are smooth and there's some useful AI features too, like the essential space and the essential search. And if you're wondering about the pre-installed apps, Facebook and Instagram do come pre-installed, but you can uninstall them if you want. And yeah, there's no glance lock screen here, which is nice. The haptic integration is also very good. You get proper feedback while unlocking, volume bar reaching max or low, camera app, and a lot more places. Plus the haptics feel a bit more polished than 3A. Let's talk about these cameras now. Specs wise, the main, the ultra wide, and even the selfie camera are still the same as last time, but the telephoto lens is a big, massive improvement. This in fact is the first phone in the segment to get a proper 3.5x periscope lens, and honestly it performs like magic. Just look at some of the photos I took from the periscope lens. Some of the photos are so good that I just can't believe I took them. And even if you take them to 7x, they still don't look like optical zoom. It's actually mad impressive. It comes with a focusing distance of 40 centimeters, so you do lose the macro capabilities that Phone 3a Pro had. But honestly, when was the last time you shot a macro? The main camera also does its job good. The color reproduction is close to accurate, the lights are handled well, and the overall photo looks pleasing to the eyes. The details are also captured well. Let me just zoom in and show it to you. The 8-megapixel ultrawide does give you a good perspective, but the moment you zoom in, you can see the lack of details. One question that a lot of you guys had is about the color difference, and well, it's still there. All 3 lenses capture slightly different colors. The main and the periscope are still quite close, but the ultrawide is still different. I also noticed that when I took the portrait from normal distance, the face details were smoothened a lot, but when I was close to the subject, it captured a good amount of facial details. And these are some selfie camera samples. Tell me how you like them. If I talk about the videos, the quality is great, the stability is also good, so no problems there, but there's no 4K 60 support. This is because of the processor limitation, and the max that you can get is 4K 30. But yeah, it does come out good. One last thing that I want to point out is that camera processing does take some extra time. I'm not sure why that is, but I hope they fix it with an update. Overall, the new periscope camera is a solid improvement over last year, and I will be leaving the camera samples traveling, so go check them out, and while you're at it, do hit the like button. Now, if I talk about the battery, it's still not silicon carbon, but the capacity has increased from last year. It's now a 5400 mAh instead of the usual 5000, and it can easily last for 6 to 7 hours of usage with 10 to 15% battery still remaining. Even with my kind of usage, which involved taking a lot of calls, using WhatsApp for messages, for video calls, playing some games, and watching a lot of reels, it was easily giving 6 to 7 hours. I also checked the overnight battery drain, and it was just 1%, which is actually good. And for charging, the phone supports 50 watts and goes from 1 to 100 in around 1 hour. But do note that there's no wireless charging support. Connectivity wise, there's pretty much everything that you need, but there's no eSIM variant in India, and NFC has also been removed. And for call connectivity, for data or Wi-Fi, I did not face any problem at all, and I used it primarily with Airtel SIM. See, pricing is where things get kind of tricky. I mean, we all knew that pricing of all the phones will go very high in 2026, and the exact same thing happened with this phone as well. Yes, it's no longer a sub 25k phone, it's now a 30,000 rupee phone, and the base variant of Nothing Phone 4a starts at 31,999. There's also 4,000 rupee bank discount, 3,000 rupee exchange bonus, and if you apply both, you can still get it under 25,000 rupees. But yeah, we should all just get used to this new pricing. See, overall, Nothing Phone 4a does bring some solid improvements over 3a. The new back panel with Glyph Bar looks more cleaner, the improved periscope camera performs extremely well. I mean, it delivers one of the best camera experiences in this segment, and UFS 3.1 instead of UFS 2.2 is also a welcome change. So that's it from my side. I really hope I answered all your questions about Nothing Phone 4a. If I did, please press that like button, it really means a lot. If you still have any more questions, feel free to ask us in the comments and we'll answer them. And by the way, which phone do you want us to compare it with? Tell me in the comments and I will definitely do it for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.